Okay, so without further ado, let's invite Maria to give us a presentation on Spanish vocabulary and phrases for interview. Welcome,
Hi.
Maria.
Thank you, Yini, for this overwhelming introduction. um, all right. So, as she said, we are going to start speaking a little bit about some phrases and some useful sentences that we can use in the work setting, especially in a job interview, but generally speaking, also when you have some business meeting. And let's begin with, for some of you that already know Spanish, you may know that we have these two forms of you. We have the tú and usted. Usted, it's more common in Latin America.
Sorry,
Tell me.
Maria, there is I hear a lot of echo from your side. Can you like switch off
Yeah.
the volume of your?
Volume. What about now? Is it okay or
Uh,
not?
Still a little bit echo. Can you like switch off the volume of the computer?
Yeah. That's what I did, but I don't hear you if I
Okay,
switch
okay,
off the
okay.
compute
Uh,
the sound. That's not. Now it's
uh,
switched off.
okay. Let's try again.
Okay, wait. I'm going to turn it down because I don't hear you. Tell me.
Let's maybe let's try. You switch off the volume when you are talking, and if I raise my hand and signal that I'm going to talk, then maybe you switch back off the volume.
Okay. Is the echo stopping when I switch off the volume?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is the echo stopping when I
When
switch
you
off
are
the volume?
talking, then you switch off the volume of your computer.
Yeah, but do you hear the echo after or not?
Uh, for now is
Now it's switched off. Do you hear the echo
it's
or
okay.
not? You do no or yes if I
Is
do you
a
hear it?
little bit, but better.
Yeah, this is
Maybe
now.
less.
Also, when you were speaking, I heard a little bit. And I don't know if it's because of the recording, actually, because before recording, I didn't hear it.
Is is yeah, maybe less. But last time I find that if we are like switching, um, like reducing the volume of the computer, that helps. So let's
Mm-hmm.
try to do that maybe for now. So when we are talking, then we just switch off the volume of our computer, and then if just that when the other one is talking, then we switch back on the volume.
Perfect. Yeah.
Then
Okay. Now it's off,
okay,
so I
so
won't hear you. uh, oh, yeah. But sorry, where shall we start again from to use that?
uh
Or
maybe let's start from here.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
because I find that I hear the echo once after you start to speak, and the echo was actually quite very serious for this
Okay,
time.
perfect.
Then
Uh,
yeah.
so thank you, Yini, for this overwhelming introduction. And now we're going to, as you said, we're going to learn some vocabulary and useful phrases in for the Spanish speaking work context. And to begin with, we will start with tú and usted. So probably most of you speaking Spanish know that we have two forms of you. There is a formal one. This one is usted, and it's also very popular in Latin America. And then we also have tú. So If you had to choose between these two when you are speaking to somebody in the business context or also when you are having an interview, I would rather go for usted, unless it's a very casual or like one the same somebody from your same level, like a peer. Otherwise, generally speaking, we would use usted. And then, of course, the verbs have also a different form, yeah, according to the ending. So you will see we have three different kinds of verbs. It's those that finish with ar, those that finish with er, and those that finish with ir. So the form of tu and usted, and yeah, the other verbs, the other person verbs, they change. So, for example, with estar, the tu form it's estás, and usted está. And from beber should be bebes, and usted bebe. And for vivir, it's vives and then usted vive. So generally speaking, you can also try just to remove the s at the end, and it should work more or less. Of course, there are some exceptions, but yeah, that's just like a little tip if you want to try it when you speak. It should work as well. And then now we will learn some vocabulary about how to speak about our education, our profession, and also about our work experience. In the first slide, you have the yeah, three different ways, at least three ones that are quite common, regarding how to tell about our education. So just a little disclaimer in this case is that actually, since in Spain and in all the countries of Latin America, we have different educational systems. Not in all countries you have these names, right? So, for example, nowadays, grado it's equivalent to bachelor degree in Spain, but in the past it used to be also diploma, and also diploma it's a quite common. Yeah, we could say that it's equivalent to degree. So diploma and degree could be similar, and also diploma in English. And in the past, also una licenciatura was the bachelor degree, at least in Spain. And of course, then there is master or also maestria. So yeah, just pay attention to these differences according to the place where you are going to interact with, because there may be different name. But generally speaking, those are the most common ones. So I'm gonna pronounce them, and if you want, you can repeat after me. So, for example, un diploma. This one finishes with a, but it's masculine, as you can see. Un grado, una licenciatura, un máster. I'm going to repeat them again. So, un diploma, un grado, una licenciatura, y un máster. And those are the equivalent to a diploma, a bachelor degree, and a master degree. In the next slide, we will see how to say that we hold a diploma or a different degree. So you have, for example, in the first line, tengo un diploma en, tengo un diploma en. This one is, I have a diploma in. So tener, it's to have. And then in the next one, we have estoy diplomado o diplomada en. So diplomado, diplomada changes because it's an adjective. Maybe some of you know that. So according to Spanish, you have to change into masculine and feminine. So in this case, if you are a woman, then you will say estoy diplomada. And this one, it's like yeah, I am graduated in something like that, but with a diploma. So yeah, it's like I have a diploma, more or less. And then also estoy graduado o graduada en. Estoy graduado o graduada en. estoy licenciado o licenciada en. And last, tengo un máster en. Tengo un máster en. So afterwards, you can just add the degree that you have. I don't know if you have studied, for example, economics. Tengo una licenciatura en economía, could be like one suitable combination. In the next slide, we have other useful phrases related to how to speak about our education, but maybe not formal education. For example, if you have done some courses before, then you can say, hice cursos en, or also, hice cursos de, and then you add what you learned before. And also, if you speak other languages, then you can say, hablo varias lenguas. This is like I speak various languages or different languages. And we have also the other word idioma, es el idioma también, even if it finishes with a, this one it's also masculine. So, hablo varias lenguas o hablo varios idiomas. And here we have different ways of calling the languages that we speak. So inglés, it's English. Español, many of you may know, it's Spanish. Italiano, Italian. Alemán, German. Y mandarín, Mandarin. So inglés, español, italiano, alemán y mandarín. And yeah, we really appreciate if you can speak our language. So that's a good tip for you. So please try to practice these sentences before doing the interview, because I think they will be really appreciated. And then speaking about our own profession, we have different ways of, yeah, like the most common one, it's using the verb to be, in this case, ser, not the to be estar. This is also something you may know already from Spanish, but for those that don't know, we have ser and estar. Both of them mean to be, but we use ser when it's more permanent. So speaking about profession, we usually use soy. And then we just add the profession. For example, soy contable. Soy contable means I am an accountant. Soy enfermero o enfermera. Again, following the pattern, if you are a girl, you would say soy enfermera. Soy ingeniero. Soy ingeniera. Soy camarero. Soy camarera. And of course, you have to notice that there is a little difference between how we say that in English and how do we say that in Spanish, because usually in English you say, for example, I am an accountant or I am a nurse, but we don't add un in between. So we don't say soy un contable. We just say soy contable. This is a little difference and it's worth looking at it. So if you want, and if you couldn't find in this list the name of your profession, you could also write it in the chat, and I will probably help you to translate that afterwards. And yeah, so what is your profession in Spanish would be something like ¿a qué te dedicas? Like what do you do? So please tell us, what do you do? Okay, and then how do we say what do we do in Spanish? We can also use the verb trabajar. Trabajar means to work, and we also have the word trabajo. In English, is also translated as work, but in this case, work it's the noun, right? So trabajar it's the verb, and trabajo the noun. If in the past you work in a particular company, you can use trabajé en, and then you can add the name of the company. And if you want to say also what you did in that company, then you can say como, for example, trabajé en la empresa ABC como contable. Trabajé en la empresa ABC como contable. That's a way to say I work in ABC company as an accountant, for example. And then continue with our work experience. We can also talk about our internships. So in Spain, we call it prácticas. And in Latin America, quite often they also call it pasantía. But in Spanish, prácticas, we use it in plural. So I know internship it's singular. So yeah, just also pay attention to that because práctica in singular means a little different thing. So if you really mean to do that, you did an internship, it would be hice prácticas en, and then you use the name of the company. For example, hice prácticas en la empresa ABC. This is the equivalent to I did an internship in ABC company. Hice prácticas en la empresa ABC. All right, and in the next slides, we will talk a little bit about how to behave in the interview setting. And yeah, if you, Jeannie, have any questions, then to just ask me. Maybe you guys also share same questions as Jeannie. Otherwise, if you have further questions, you can just use the chat and share them with us, and we can talk about it later. So, speaking about timing and being on time, yeah, don't go for the Spanish punctuality in this case. Please do come at least 5 to 10 minutes earlier. But despite this fact, you should be also prepared to wait for a little bit, sometimes for the interviewer. But yeah, we do appreciate, as in all cultures, the punctuality, especially in business setting, because as you know, many others time it's like a goal. So we really have to care about this. And then also, you guys know that when we say hello, when we greet our friends or acquaintances, we quite often use 2 kisses. But in a job interview, I wouldn't go for 2 kisses. I would rather use the shaking hands. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, because this one, yeah, it's just like business setting. So yeah, you know that in Spain we kiss, the girls kiss always both men and women, and men usually kiss twice the woman. But yeah, in this business context, it's really totally not correct. And yeah, try to make it a good firm grasp. And also, when you leave, it's fine to shake hands again, and of course thank your interviewer. And regarding the dressing, you also should really like just take into consideration a little bit the kind of company that you are going to. So yeah, suit for corporate, it's quite common, but also smart casual for media or IT, it's also yeah, quite common as well. And for this webinar, I also interviewed some of my some former colleagues and friends that are from outside of Spain. So I asked them, how did you get the job here in Spain? And it's quite curious because all of them talk about having the right contacts, or like having had a contact before. So of course, I believe that contacts are important in all countries, but it's curious that both of them told me about this. So I really believe that maybe in Spain it would be a good idea if you have already somebody from your country working in a company or something like that. It could be nice if they can guide you or give you some further advice. And if you like their company, maybe you can also suggest them to introduce to you to their bosses. As you will see in the next slide, of course, references are not. Yeah, that's in the last bullet point. But yeah, speaking about references, usually we don't ask for references in Spain, at least in Spain. Maybe in other Latin American countries, it's quite It may be common, I don't know, but speaking about the Spanish context, if you give some references or context to the person that it's making the interview to you, it would be appreciated, but it's not required. So yeah, that's one important thing to notice. And then we also have one-on-one interviews. So yeah, sometimes there are panel interviews, but that's not the rule. And usually the interview should be in the meeting room or maybe the recruiter's office. But this has happened to me too, and it's the fact that we very often also have interviews in a cafe or a local bar. Yeah, it may be due to different circumstances, maybe because the office is not in the city center, or maybe because the office is still not open. So yeah, but just be as professional as if you were in the meeting room, even if it may be a bit shocking for you. And then don't worry if the person that it's making you the interview may interrupt you or also speak a bit loud, because that's kind of our way to speak. It's not, it's nothing against you personally. And of course, try to elaborate a little bit the answers to the questions. So please avoid giving one word question. Sorry, one word answers. And then speaking about like Spanish work culture, this is oh yeah, here the moment it's because of the visa, but of course if you're going to stay in your own country and you're not gonna need a visa to go to Spain, that's not an issue. But yeah, if you do think about moving to Spain and working there, just take into consideration that, okay? um, then in Spain, usually it's qualified people, so people that have studied, that hold a degree, are usually preferred over unqualified workers. Uh, Still, it may be there may be a chance that even if you are qualified, you are going to get a job that it's where you don't need to be that much qualified, but still it's preferred somebody with holding a degree. And also for the younger ones here, it may also be a little bit difficult in Spain, whereas for these people that are senior and have already some experience, this should be pretty much more straightforward. And then also speaking about like what do we do usually in Spain for working, right? Like in working days, for example, many of you may know siesta, but it's not common to have siesta during weekdays. So yeah, nobody's taking a nap in the office or something like that. Or yeah, maybe if they do that, it's during their break time, not while working. And usually we complain a lot also about the company and the boss. And according to us, we always are paid very little compared to the hard work that we do. And yeah, we usually complain about these things when we are off work, of course, not in the office. But yeah, there is always this kind of game. So the boss always wants the people to work a lot, and then the employees want to work less. So there is always like this little fight or unbalance. And yeah, maybe in some other countries it's like that or not. If you want, you can let us know in the comments below, in the chat box. But yeah, in Spain it's really like that, because as you know, we try to work for a living, so we really appreciate our free time too. But the boss is usually, if especially this happens when the boss is the owner of the company, it's just the opposite, right? They really want to the people to work as much as possible. So there should be always like some balance in between these. And then, of course, the three main sectors, as in everywhere else, are primary, secondary, and tertiary. But the most relevant in Spain is the tertiary, obviously, because of tourism. And speaking about this sector, as I said before, in the next slide, you will see that there is always like always qualified workers are preferred over unqualified in this sector. But there is a lot of there is a high level of overqualified people. And then this is also very typical in Spain. Of course, you probably won't find this in your own country, but if you ever go to Spain to work, the collective labor agreements are really the rule. So usually, even yeah, even if you may have more or less experience, sometimes they really stick to the minimum for this collective labor agreement. And then sometimes you have to go and check which one it's yours. But you can find this information easily on the internet. And but in spite of the agreements, there is a lot of inequality too, rewarding salaries as well. And then there is a high level of temporary workers, both in the service, but also in the primary sector, like, for example, people working in the countryside and so on. But yeah, these kind of jobs, I think if you are starting to learn Spanish and you really, really want to improve, it's a good way to start. Maybe you can work somewhere in the summer, and that's a good idea. Of course, for those that may want to learn Spanish, and yeah, also this is the easiest way to have a job in Spain, of course, but probably not the most comfortable, because during the season that you have to work, you can't enjoy the holidays. And yeah, so this is more or less what I wanted to share with you. And now it's Jeannie's turn to speak again. So please, Jeannie.